Salakium, Akium, Salak. I hit the wrong button on this phone. So back to basically I was talking about the chastisement. Um, they said God's disciplinary judgment proved that He still cared for them. To edify that, go to the book of Hebrews 12, starting at 6, and you can I'm gonna read to probably like 11. For whom the Lord loveth, He chastiseth, and scourgeth every son whom He receiveth. Verse 7, if ye endure chastising, Yahweh dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chastiseth not? Chasteneth not. Verse 8, but if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. Verse 9, furthermore we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? Verse 10, for they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Verse 11, now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So in the end, basically saying, through chastisement, through humiliation, we are humbled. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm gonna be honest. I have an issue with pride to a certain extent, and one of the Akim actually got me to realize that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but the word humble actually comes from the word humiliation. So for you to be truly humbled, you have to be humiliated. When you chastise, like for instance, you know, well, nowadays it's so, out of whack. It's unheard of. That's why you got these little fucking demons and monsters out here. But at one point in time, we were allowed as parents and whatnot in this place called Babylon to discipline our children. Now you fuck around, go to jail for disciplining your child. But that steered a lot of people. I mean, I know true accounts where that steered a lot of people from actually, walking certain paths, in life. So back to the lesson. I'm gonna have to make this video a little bit longer because I'm assuming it cut it off. I think 6 minutes in. The role of Israel's sin in all this somehow escaped Gideon. He had been brought up in an atmosphere of spiritual compromise. So when you go to look at Judges, I didn't get a chance to go back to that. 6:25. And it came to pass that the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it. So at the end of the day, Gideon's own father was up there, sinning against the Lord. He had an idol. I'm going to reread that. And it came to pass at the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of the 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, meaning he had one himself, and cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar, verse 26, and build an altar unto the Lord thy power upon the top of this rock in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove which thou shalt cut down. So the Most High made Gideon use the grove or the old altar to Baal to basically, light the fire for the burnt sacrifice for, to cleanse that place. It's deep, man. And had not cultivated a sensitivity to the Lord's holiness and revealed will. He was probably ignorant of the warnings Yahawah had given through Moses, which you can read in the book of Leviticus 26:14 through 39, or the book of Deuteronomy 28, verses 15 to 48. Gideon was no different from others. Gideon was no different from any other sinful human being. It is natural to ignore Yahawah in times of prosperity and attribute success to our own efforts, which is so true. But when hardships come, how easy it is to blame Yahawah for them. In times of adversity, our first inclination ought to be to question ourselves, not Yahawah. which I agree with after much trial and tribulation and being, awakened to the knowledge of this truth. You know what I mean? It really ain't, the Most High is, you know, these demons and the way that this system is set up, and ultimately you. You know what I'm saying? It's no such real thing as free will, but at the same time, we do make choices. You know what I mean? You know, it's a constant battle and test. Hardship is not always the result of sin, but self-examination in the light of Yahweh's word is always a good place to begin. The Lord's commission, Judges 6:14. I'm gonna read that. And Judges chapter 6, verse 14. And the Lord looked upon him and said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. And have not I seen thee? And he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. With the words, and the Lord looked upon him, the writer of Judges affirmed that the angel of the Lord was, I don't agree with that. He looked Gideon in the eye as he gave an answer, yet he did not answer Gideon's question of why he had withdrawn his power from Israel. Instead, he challenged Gideon to do something about the situation. Too often we spend our time whining to Yahawah about our evil surroundings, feeling victimized by them. But when we ask him why he does not change them, we may be overlooking the obvious, that Yahawah wants us to be part of his solution to the problem. Are we willing to make ourselves available for his use? The Lord commanded, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? Which is Judges 6:14. This thy might refers to the strength the Lord was now giving Gideon, not in that strength of his own. In essence, Yahweh was saying, You wonder where my miracles are? Salakia, you wonder where my miracles are. Well, I'm still working miracles, and you will see them through the power I am making available to you. Yahweh's power would enable Gideon to save Israel from the Midianites. The reminder that it was the Lord who was sending him provided Gideon the assurance that Yahweh's presence was with him in the undertaking. It is worth noting that the Lord did not take time to answer all of Gideon's theological questions. He did not even completely identify himself. He merely commanded Gideon. He really merely commanded Gideon, promised him strength, and asked for his trust. They got precepts down here. John 16:33 and 1 John 5:4. Salakia. 1 John 5 verses 4 through 5. Persistence of doubt. Verse 15, and he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. Verse 16, and the Lord said unto him, Surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Verse 17, and he said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. Verse 18, Depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring forth my present, and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. Gideon's objection, Judges 6:15. Although impressed with his visitor, Gideon was not yet ready to accept his commission. Oh my Lord may indicate an awakening realization of who the angel was, but Gideon shrank from the task. He no longer doubted that the Lord would deliver Israel, but he doubted his inadequacy to lead such a huge undertaking. Wherewith shall I save Israel? He asked. He could not imagine himself in his role. And that's the thing with this truth, you know what I mean? Like, I can't speak for any of the other Akim, and, I already promised myself I couldn't go back into the world. But, this truth is going to test and try you, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be surprised what, that's why I think, me personally, it's certain questions I ask the Most High, and, Salakia, I asked Yahawah by Yahawah Shah, and he doesn't really answer them to I mean, when you in His truth and when you really know that God dealing with you, you learn to listen for Him wherever. You know what I'm saying? Like He might talk to you through nature, through a song, through. I done seen random people I ain't never met say something and it's gonna affect me. You get what I'm saying? So you gotta constantly watching and listening. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with people. They don't pay attention to God. God is everywhere. He's everything. He's YAHAWAH. He is. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, but I don't think He give us everything because we not ready for everything. I hear the apostles speak on that all the time. You know what I mean? He's giving us something though, and that shows that He's dealing with us. I could see Gideon being like perplexed. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's a hell of a test. And then, like I say, especially being told that you gotta conquer the people that's subjecting you. You know what I mean? Like, and then you, in your eyes, seem inadequate. You know what I mean? Like he said, I'm the least in my father's house. So that means he probably wasn't like how David brothers were basically in Saul's army, but he was considered like a nobody or nothing. You know what I mean? And that's how Yahweh, by Yashem Yahweh Shah works. He takes the least things in this world to confound the great. You know what I mean? I don't know where that's in scripture. And as you can see, I'm outside. My phone is one of those little cheap joints, so it's barely doing this video. So Salakia for that. And, bear with me, Akim, but that's just a precept through the Spirit to edify. Verse 17, and he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. Verse 18, depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring forth my present, and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. Gideon's objection, Judges 6 and 15. Although impressed with his visitor, no, see, I read this already, Salakia. Okay. First, who would follow him? Gideon claimed to be from a poor family in Manasseh. This does not speak so much of poverty as a lack of status. Apparently, his clan was not known for leadership, so who would follow him? Furthermore, he was the least in his father's household. He was likely the youngest son. In any case, he lacked influence. Gideon was not unique in such objections to service. Moses had earlier argued that he was nobody and that the Israelites would not follow him, which you can read in the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 11, verse 13, chapter 4, verse 1, and verse 10. Saul later claimed ineligibility because of his humble social status, which you can read in 1 Samuel 9, chapter 9, verse 21. And Jeremiah pleaded youth and inability to speak, which you can read in Jeremiah chapter 1 and 6, which most of the Akim find funny. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that just proved, the Most High, Yahweh by Yashem Yahweh Shah, is nothing to be trifled with. You know what I mean? And that's to prove that he wants men. You know what I'm saying? He took a youth and made him a man. You get what I'm saying? Because Jeremiah caught hell when you really read that account. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah went to jail. Jeremiah got beat. You know what I mean? Jeremiah caught hell. You know what I'm saying? Got caught up in the captivity, but then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he got released. Countless saints over the centuries have professed their inadequacy for their divinely given tasks and shrunk from their calls. You know something? To show you this is spirit, that's why I said, you got to really test the spirit with this stuff. This is probably the first book that actually is telling who the saints really are. You know what I mean? Because most books and material I've read, they don't say, the saints are simply the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? The ones that's doing the Most High's will, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah's will. You know what I mean? Like I've read things, they try to portray the saints as, which they are, because angel simply means messenger, but, this is the closest I've actually seen, what's that Psalms chapter 140, I'm going to get it to edify. Let me see, let me find it real quick. Okay. Psalms 148, Salakia. It's Psalms chapter 148, verse 14. I'm going to read at 13. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. Verse 14. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord. So, basically, that's proving who the saints is, the Israelites. And that's, like I said, this is the only thing I really seen that actually came close to admitting that.